had me a little perplexed throughout the week. And I don't like having certain types of dreams. And, there was probably about, I would say, 7 or 8 years ago, I decided that in any fight that my wife and I ever have, I wasn't going to use the D word anymore. Uh, my first after it gets a 2 or 3 years, whenever we had a fight, it was always like, okay, we don't seem to be very compatible. I would end up saying statements like, I didn't marry you to make my life worse. I married you to make my life better. And the D word was divorce. And I had a dream this week, and I took my wife in the dream to a country in Asia. And she was restless in this dream, and she didn't want to really stay. And we had just been there for a few hours, and we stayed over a friend's house that I guess he lives over there in Asia. And she wanted to go back home. And I looked at her in the dream, and I said, something's wrong. Something's not happening right. Why are you acting this way? I just want to go home. I just want to go home. I don't want to be here. And if you know my wife, you know that she loves to travel. She loves to be at places and see new things and new people, and loves staying in hotels and love being a tourist. It's just everything I can't stand about travel is what she loves. So we were total opposite. So I knew there was something really drastically wrong in the dream, and I said something in the dream to kind of just to get a response. And she was walking away, supposedly going to go wait for a taxi. And I said, I screamed at her, and she looked at me, and I mouthed that it's time to get a divorce. And I just mouthed it, but it was one of those, I'm going to say it to see how she's going to react. And she said, yeah, me too. I want one, and I want it right now. And then I woke up. And, on the week of Valentine's Day, it's not a very good thing to start your week with divorce. And I got up, and I was perplexed, and I'm like, why did I have that dream? Why did that dream come up? Why am I dreaming such a crazy thing? Because my wife feels more love when we travel. So, between the dog and our sick baby, we're going to have a tough Valentine's Day message. Our studio is in our home, and we have a spoiled dog that we need to go take care of. So go take care of the dog, please. We may have to go put the dog in a kennel outside somewhere. Anyway, let's continue. I thought of what would be all the reasons that we can have such a crazy dream. And it dawned on me. I forgot that I normally sense everything else around me. I have discovered that the month of February is a month not of love, not of Black History Month, but it's a month of more separation. Most people who are going to get a divorce or be separated or break up will happen in the month of February. Now, some of you will be, why? Why would we do this? Well, if you stop and think about it, you have a month of love, and you are with someone whom you don't want to show love to. So just before the day of love comes up, you break up so you don't have to show love. So the month of February is not the month of love. It's the month of anti-love, if we should have to put it in a way that will be easily understandable. I remember my father. My father, he's very frugal. I'm being nice by saying frugal. For those of you that know my father, you don't know what it's like to have to live with someone who would go shopping and make sure that all the foods have black and white labels. And all the foods had to have black and white labels because he was taught that food is food, and when you pay for color, it costs you more money. You know, whenever you have to pay for the packaging, you're going to pay more. So you want to pay less money, just get the black and white. Now, we don't have black and white anymore. I remember when it was just black and white. You go to Pantry Pride, and in Pantry Pride, they used to have those little stamps that you collected every time you went shopping, and he will make sure he comes with his whole group of stamps all collected and everything so he can get his discount. And we'll go through every aisle, and you'll see cornflakes. You'll see the cornflakes with the chicken in the front, or the rooster. Then you'll keep on going, and you'll see a plastic cornflakes bag with black and white cornflakes written on it. My dad was attracted to it. Now, if you've never eaten cornflakes from an unknown brand, let me tell you, first bite, and you think of wood chips. I think the cornflakes left out the corn. Matter of fact, wood chips is part of your cereal. So anyway, I'm getting kind of off topic. But every time he would be dating somebody, he would make sure that for Valentine's Day, he was no longer dating that person. After Valentine's Day, he'll resume with his relationship. And this happened every Valentine's Day. So I've seen it on my own, from my own experience, what a day like today normally brings. I want to speak today about what causes us to fall out of love. It is colloquialism that we use today. I fell in love. I fell out of love. I think that we should wear better shoes and tie our shoelaces so we won't fall as often. In truth, there is no such thing as falling in love. Love is a choice. We choose who we want to be with. We choose when we don't want to be with them anymore. And it is a choice. And you'll say, well, no, it's feelings. Well, did you not feel in love? Yes, I did. Well, what happened with that feeling? Why did that feeling just float away with the wind? Is that feeling change? If you were ever meant to make decisions on things that are changeable, you'll find someone with a really strange lifestyle. A wild person. What we would consider uncivilized. If I felt like knocking you out, would it be wrong when you felt like loving someone? If I felt like going up to a perfect stranger and just grabbing her by her ears and kissing her as passionately as I wanted to, was that wrong? We are taught as children that we can feel a certain way, but we have to be able to control how we feel. Now, we are taught all our lives that we have to control ourselves, but then when we are going to pick a mate, we go by our feelings. Now, I'm not telling you to marry someone that you don't love. I'm telling you that love is a choice. There are 4 types of love that we will discuss today, and the problem with our English is that we speak it really bad. I was watching a TV show, and the man said, I speak 2 languages. I speak English, and I speak bad English. And those are the 2 languages that are spoken. But whenever we think of love, we think of everything. We love everything. We are a nation that's in love with whatever it comes up before us. We love pizza. We love lobsters. You know, we love camping. We love fishing. We love our car. We love our house. We love our dog. We love our cats. And there's no distinction of what love is. So we have to deal with other languages to understand love better. There are certain ways, because Spanish is my first language, there are certain things that I cannot say to my child when I'm speaking of love. It just does not apply. You know, love for family in Greek is the word storge. It's my family. So I love them. But the love that I have for my family is not the same love that I have for my wife. Now, there's the love for passionate love would be eros. But eros, you have different levels of it. So you can talk about the love, but you have different levels. You know, I can when I was first met my wife and she was 8 years old, I could not say that I love her erosly. It just wasn't right. She was an 8-year-old. You know, just not there. But I loved her with philo love. Well, that's a love of a friend. But it's also love of my family. So with storge and philo combined, I love my family. I don't love them with just one type of love. I love them with two type of love. But when my wife started getting older and started maturing, then there was a type of eros love, but it wasn't to the extreme. It was one of those, I love you more than philo. You're no longer just a friend, you know, I love you a little bit more. And then we have agape love. Now, agape love, it's not a love that we can bring out of our own whenever we want it to. Agape love is the love that how God loves us. Well, how does God love us? We don't need to do anything for him to love us. We don't need to go buy him a Bentley. We don't need to put him a big house on the hill. We don't even need to worship him for him to love us. He just happens to love us. So what gets in the way of love? Turn with me to the book of love, first created in the Bible, 1 Corinthians chapter 13. If I speak in the tongues of men and of angels, but have not love, I am only a resounding gong and a clanging cymbal. In marriage and in relationships, we have the clanging cymbals and we have the big gongs. So let's get over it, and we're going to view what it is to be both the gong and the clanging cymbal. Whenever you love somebody and you want to announce it to everybody that you love them, they should not feel that the first time they were loved is when you announced it. You ever dated someone like that? That only loved you in public? Never showed you anything? You know, there are no flowers, no chocolate, no holding of doors, no, not anything. But all of a sudden you get around the family and they're, oh yeah, this is my girlfriend, I love her. Sometimes in marriage, we do that. We end up the big gong and the big cymbal. There used to be a TV show on years ago, and you had to kind of do a little act, or singing, or dancing, or a drama. And whenever you start to be really, really bad, someone came on, and they had the big mallet, and there was a big gong in the back of them. And if they hit that gong, you were through. And I used to love the show. I never knew that the gong was actually an instrument until I joined the army band and I had to play the gong. Every once in a while you do want that sound to come up. If you are not showing your love for one another when it's just you and that person, then you're not allowed to show it publicly. You know, the only things that we like to show, I remember when I was a teenager, I would like a girl, but I would never admit to anyone I liked a girl until someone else liked her. I didn't want to like an ugly girl. So I kind of waited around and said, if no one else is interested in her, I'm certainly not going to even try. And then, when I got a little older, I realized I was childish. And I liked this particular girl, and nobody seemed to be interested in her. And I asked the girl out, and we went out on one date. Only one date. Never had a repeat of that with that young lady. Because all of a sudden, everybody was asking her out. And she was from one of these tomboyish-looking girls to, oh, I know I look good, girl. It just changed her that everybody wanted to go out with her all of a sudden. So I went from being, let me not ask them out, to I'll be the first to ask them out, and then I realized that both extremes were really bad. You kind of change the person. Let's look at verse 2. If I had a gift of prophecy and can fathom all mysteries and all knowledge, and if I have a faith that can move mountains but have not love, I am nothing. Now, if I had every gift that you've just mentioned here, could you think about it, that I can have faith, that I can tell the mountain to move, and the mountain just starts to pick up and go? But I don't love anybody. I don't love anything but myself. I'm nothing. I haven't gained anything. Now, I remember watching most of you in here when you were single. I remember that look in your face, when you saw everybody with someone else. It was really sad to have a ministry full of college students, because you had some young ladies that all the guys wanted to go out with, and then you have some young ladies that no one wanted to go out with. And you ask the young ladies, well, what do you want? See, I loved this when I went to Japan. I would ask the young ladies, what is it that you want? What is it that you would want me to pray for? And every single young lady in that group said, I want a boyfriend. You get to that 20-something years, and I want a boyfriend. To give everything that you can want in life for me to pray for, the most important thing you can think of is a boyfriend. And you ask the college students that we had here, what is it that you want? They will think, I want a boyfriend. But they won't ask you to pray for the boyfriend because they're too embarrassed. So they'll ask you, oh, for my school, for my grades. But you can see in their eyes, what is it that you want more than anything right now? I want a boyfriend. And there was one young lady that finally did say, I want a boyfriend. And she would come on Sundays with her hair undone. Just looked messy every time I saw her. She didn't care much for what she looked like. And then I saw a picture of her when she went to visit a friend in Japan, and she was dressed very, very nice. And what I thought about myself is, about her, I said, she went way over there and dressed up. But over here, she won't dress up. Our problem that we have in our society is that we have learned to be somebody else. We have learned to look like someone. We know what attractive is, so we know how to act attractive. I remember giving some ground rules for dating. And one of the rules were, be yourself. It has been estimated in the United States, 98% of people who get married marry a perfect stranger. Did you get that figure? 98% of the people who marry a perfect stranger. Well, we can even write a book about that, huh? You weren't like this when I married you. Yes, he was. No, he wasn't. He wasn't like that. Yes, he was. No, he was not. I'm the one that dated him. Yes, he was. She wasn't like that when I married her. Yes, she was. No, she wasn't. When I would go pick her up, she didn't look like that. Yes, she did. No, I can show you in pictures. What happened is everybody's on the best behavior. You dress the part. I love watching. There's a a movie that every time we buy it, someone steals it from us. I'm going to get you, sucker. It is so funny because the man is on a date and the lady asked him a question and he lied. And then the lady took him home to her apartment and he decided to confide the truth, and she felt so relieved that he was truthful that she felt the need to be truthful too. And then she proceeded to take off the leg because she only had one. And then she proceeded to take off the wig. She was bald. She proceeded to take off the butt pad. And every time she took something off, the look in the man's face got a little bit more bewildering as he tried to figure out how he can run out of that apartment. But when you look at the lady in the beginning, you think, oh, you're beautiful. And at the end, oh my goodness, whatever happened to the beauty that I saw earlier? I'm not saying to not make yourself look good. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that when you're going to give chance to love, you have to be able to trust that the person could love you and not to fall in love with the person you have created. You can have all the qualities that were spoken of here, but qualities are just that. You don't marry a quality. Oh, I got to say that again because some of us have lost it. If I looked at a woman and I heard a woman over the radio and she had the most beautiful voice and fell in love with the voice and called that woman and said, listen, if you come over here, I'll marry you. I just love you so much. And then the lady ended up showing up and she's the ugliest woman I have ever seen. Well, I fell in love with a quality. Her ability to sing got to my ears and got my attention. And I thought that her singing would be her. It ended up being her singing is just part of who she is. When I was younger, my dad used to listen to an artist. His name was Nat King Cole. Nat King Cole had a very beautiful voice. Whenever I first heard him, I thought, man, this is a awesome singer. Nat King Cole was African American in an era where African Americans did not sell very much records. So all the beginning of Nat King Cole's albums all had a white man on the cover. Had his name, Nat King Cole, blonde man with blue eyes, and you had everybody buying the album. Well, Nat King Cole messed it up because Nat King Cole ended up being on TV one time. And it was only black and white TV, so there was only two colors, black or white. Well, he was on the darker spectrum of the black. And he began to sing, Mona Lisa, Mona Lisa, men have loved you. And everybody recognized the voice. That is Nat King Cole. But Nat King Cole is white. And this is an impersonator. And then the news came out, no, the impersonator was the one on the cover. Nat King Cole is actually black. But he wasn't just black. He was ugly. Now you get to put a face to the voice. And all of a sudden, you have to kind of forget the face to focus on the voice. Now, I'm not telling you that I knew Nat King Cole. I don't know what kind of person he was. I mean, when you fall in love, and you really do fall in love, you find that what you see is appealing. Everybody has their different things that attracts them. Someone thought that Nat King Cole looked good because he had a daughter. Her name is Natalie Cole. She's a singer as well. If you're going to look at someone, you're going to have to look at their positive qualities and their negative qualities and try to go through that to find who the person is. Now, if you are already married, you need to uncover who you married. Go through all the layers and say, okay, this is who I married. If you didn't know them in the beginning, well, you got to know them now. If I give all I possess to the poor and surrender my body to the flames, but have not love, I gain nothing. Now, all of these are just introductions. We're just kind of showing you what love isn't. Can you think of standing there while someone is putting fire on you and you're doing all of that and you don't love somebody? That's kind of aimless, isn't it? You're going to give all that you have and you have no love. Now let's get to the meat. Love is patient. We lost most of us already. There was a time you would have lost me on just that first part. Told you all that love isn't. Now let me tell you what love is. Love is patient. How many of you have ever stopped to consider that for a second? In the middle of, I'm going to tell you off, love is patient. That's what we consider our love? Patient? Well, God loves us. God is love. We know that. Is he patient? I remember when I was a kid, I used to think that God was going to strike me down. If I said something, boy, I was already looking up into the heavens. Okay, if I see lightning anywhere, I'm going to go take shelter. Because someone taught me that God was a boogeyman. You know, the boogeyman's going to get you. Whatever I did something wrong, I was already afraid. And, okay, God's out to get me. And then I discover God is patient with me. Well, why is he patient with me? I never did anything for him to be patient with me for. Well, because he loves me. Because he loves me, he's patient. Well, how many times am I not patient with my spouse? How many times am I not patient with my children? Do you know I am less patient with my own than I am with total strangers? I can teach piano lessons to strangers, but I cannot teach piano lessons to my own kids. Why is it that I am not as patient? Think about it. How about you? Are you more patient with your spouse, or are you less patient than you are with strangers? If you were to answer, you'll say, I'm less patient. So, well, why are you less patient? Because our expectations is they know us. Since you know me, you should know what not to do. Well, in all honesty, because you do love them, you should be more patient with the ones you love. Right? Oh, I'm glad I'm getting the nods. Because we're going to try this out this week. I'm telling you, you're going to have to try patience this week. Love is kind. Love is kind. You mean to tell me that you have people who are say they love each other and they are unkind to each other? Well, what is being unkind? You pull out all the stuff that is wrong with them. I don't like your hair. It's stringy. Your breath smells like 3 dragons just passed gas. You know, you can say things and not be unkind. Love is kind. That's really hard to do, especially with kids, because sometimes they just can aggravate you. And I know all of you have either infants or toddlers. You're not at the aggravation stage yet. But, you know, your kids can say things and do things, and it's like, okay, stop jumping, you monkey, stop jumping. You know, it's calling them a monkey. Is that kind? No, it's not kind. So love is kind. It does not envy. Now, we cannot do envy without boast. So we're going to go over boast first. Whenever you are boasting about somebody, you're boasting for a reason. Your boast is always for the same reason. Boast always create a sense of envy. Always. So when you're boasting about something that you got, someone is going to be envious of what you're boasting about. Ooh, look, I got a new car. Yeah, you can get a new car and it did not be boasting. But when you have to remind everybody you have a new car, you're boasting. Well, what does the boasting create? Well, what about the person who has an old car? Ooh, that's just the type of car I want. And it becomes envious. So now we need to deal with it in a relationship. Sometimes one partner boasts so the other one will be envious. You boast about the good things. Well, what happened, the person who becomes envious then has to tell you something about you that is bad so they can feel okay. The bullying mentality. And we like to bully each other in marriage. So we're not supposed to boast. You got a promotion in your job. We have issues of male and female that some of us don't seem to know that we have. You have the issue of a male. A male does not feel comfortable with a female who makes more money than he does. A male doesn't feel comfortable with that. I'm not saying a male cannot live with that. I'm saying a male cannot feel comfortable with that. And I've seen marriages to where the woman makes a lot more money than the man, and the woman keeps holding it over the man's head. And I've had to counsel some marriages with this problem. The woman said, well, when I married you, I already had this house is mine, and I already had money in the bank, and I already had cars, and now you come and all you doing is just taking all my money. That's boastful. Well, then the man retaliates. Well, you weren't all that when I married you to begin with. If I didn't come into your house, then nobody else would have wanted to marry you. We have issues, don't we? All from boasting. So I'm not supposed to envy someone if I love them, and I'm not supposed to be boastful. And it's not proud. Love is not proud. Well, the Bible says the pride comes before the fall. But we're taught in our generation that we're supposed to have pride in ourselves. So we have conflicts of ideas because we don't know which one we're talking about. How can I be proud of myself and then at the same time I'm not supposed to be proud? I think we have a difference in words. I should feel good about myself, because if I don't feel good about myself, I'm going to end up hurting myself. But the word pride is not the same thing. Pride is something that you have from an accomplishment that you made. Some accomplishments you made only by being born into an accomplished family. For instance, Paris Hilton can be proud that she's a Hilton. They invite her to go to parties, and she get paid for it. Have you seen Paris Hilton dance? She's pitiful. Who wants her in a party? I mean, she really don't know how to dance. But she gets invited to all these club parties, and that's what she makes a living off. She makes a living of showing herself in certain movies. She just go on. She does a cameo, and she gets paid for it. Let me ask you a question. What has Paris Hilton ever done? None of us in here can give her any accolades of anything that she's accomplished, because we don't know anything about her. We just know she's famous. What made her famous? If you stop and think about it, how in the world did she ever get famous? Her dad owns hotels. When was that ever an accolade for fame? You know what made her famous? Her dad has millions. That made her famous. You think that Paris Hilton is proud? Oh, yeah. She walks into place, oh, you got to treat me a certain way. I'm used to this. Well, why are you used? Because I've always had it. Did she gain any of it by herself? No. I remember when I was younger and I would be hired as a musician, and every time I went to go play somewhere, it was crucial that you spell my name right. I would get very offended you misspelled my name on a program. And I had to play for a wedding, and they misspelled my name. and I refused to play for the wedding. And here are all the people starting to come in, and we already paid half your salary for. Oh, that's okay. I'll give it back. You find whoever this character is, whom you put on this program, and have him come and play, because he's not here right now. And they had to rush and print out new programs. They did the little inserts to put it in there because they misspelled my name. And I proceeded to play for the wedding. Why did I do that? I was very proud. I thought I was somebody, and I acted like somebody. And you know, we expect people who are somebody to act proudful. We expect it. It goes with the territory. So if you don't act like that, then you're not somebody. Well, we bring this mess into our relationships. You know, I was somebody before I married you. No, love does not have pride. What do you mean? You can say you're sorry. Well, in my family, we don't. No, you can say you're sorry. Well, I'm not the one that started it. You can say you're sorry. Well, I'm never going to. All of that is pride. The Bible says it comes before the fall. That's all right. You want to say proudful that you're about to hit the ground. You fell in love, you're about to fall again. It doesn't have pride mixed in it. Let's continue. It's not rude. It is not self-seeking. It is not selfish. Self-seeking is selfish. Love is not selfish. My wife, because in our relationship, I'm the one that deals with the finances. I'm the one that has to pay the bills. I'm the one that has to put gas in the car. You know, I run the finances. That's the arrangement we have in our household. There are some women that are better at running the finances than men, and in their houses, they should be the one running the finances. In my house, I'm the one that runs the finances. I am better at it, so it's my task. Well, the problem is when we have days like today, my wife never comes up and say, honey, I need an extra $100 this week. She manages somehow or another to come up with extra money all by herself. And so she came to me this morning, woke me up and said, Happy Valentine's Day, and handed me a basket. And in my head, you know, the first question I asked was, where did you get the money? Not that it was wrong that she bought me gifts. It's just that, you know, I don't want my wife doing strange things to get money. So, okay, I know y'all looking at me like that, but I always ask where did you get it? So, so she said, well, I had to do some babysitting. I bartered babysitting for money to buy you a Valentine's Day. Now, she only does that because she wants to surprise me. It's not like if she won't get $100 if she asks for it. So, in our lives, I can be very proudful and said, you know, you don't need to do that. You should have just asked me for money. I would have ruined the Valentine's Day. Wouldn't I? But what about if she did all that all the time and she just spent it on herself? Well, I did extra work. I did babysitting, and I did all that. It's my money. I can do with my money as I want to do with my. It's not the money that you need to get to be able to pay the bills of the house. You know the problem with that? Let's say she did work some extra babysitting jobs and we're short for the mortgage. Honey, didn't you do some extra work? Yeah, I did, but that's my money. No. When we got married, what was mine is yours. What is yours is mine. That's selfish. Love isn't selfish. Well, you're just going to have to figure out how you're going to come up with some extra money to pay the mortgage because this is my money. You know, we are taught in our society that's how we're supposed to be. This is mine. This is yours. This is mine. This is yours. This is yours. This is mine. This is mine. This is mine. This is. Oh, you cheated me. You took twice. Is there such a thing in marriage? Come on. Don't look at me with that tone of voice. I saw one person, yeah, there is such a thing in marriage. No, there isn't. No, it's not. God made it very plain. And the two will become one. Two become one. You mean to tell me if my wife needs money for the daycare and I have it, did I give it to her so she can pay for the daycare stuff? Yeah. Did you like it? No. Didn't like it. Did you complain about it? Yeah, I did. Did you want to give it? No, I didn't. Why didn't you want to give it? Because I have to keep on giving. And giving. And giving. And giving. But Bishop, the daycare belongs to the church. It does. Why are you giving? Because my wife is giving. So if she stopped giving, you stop giving? Yep. Because love is not selfish. Do you think you and I would be around today if God was selfish? Let's just let God have a selfish moment. Just one moment. How is it that we don't expect God to have one selfish moment? Kind of not fair, isn't it? When we have all our selfish days, this is me, 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 me. My wife said something last week that kind of pestered me. She didn't really mean it. I had to stop and think about it a lot. And she said this statement. She said, you built all of this and you never built anything for me. You know, and it really irritated me. And I thought about it, and I said, you know what? I built everything with her in mind. I tried to build everything that she would like, and I put everything in it that she will want. And then at the end, it's like, you don't put anything that I want. Did she really mean that? Or was she having a selfish moment? You see, we all have them. We all have our selfish moments.